In the 90s, Playmates Toys made the deepest line of Star Trek action figures in history. My name's Keith, and I'm a collector working towards owning all 284. I've been a Trek fan for almost 35 years, and most people are sick of me talking about it. But somehow I've convinced my old friend Mike to review them with me on Look at My Star Trek Toys! Wait for the whoosh. No, there's no whoosh.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Here, there it is. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Look at My Star Trek Toys. You know, I was just watching the intro, and I realized that when I recorded it, it was almost 35 years. It's now 35 years, officially, that I have been a Star Trek fan.
100p, man. Congratulations. Yeah.
Since 1987. Although, to be fair, I might have enjoyed one of the movies before 87, but that's when Next Gen started and it clicked in for me. How's it going, Mike?
Not too bad, Keith. There's only one thing we know for certain.
I am Doot. I am Doot. I am Doot.
You are
the
Doot,
gift
buddy.
that keeps giving.
And we'll continue to give. Keith, it's Christmas. Can you feel it? It's in the air.
Yes.
It's Christmas.
Picardmas. It's Picardmas in July.
It's talk over each other o'clock. We've been doing this a long time.
Now silence.
Yeah, we've been doing this quite a while. All right, you know what? Let's just do this thing.
That's great. Well, I'm Keith Varney. That's the Unabomber. And we are...
what are we doing today? What are we doing today?
Today we are doing another fantastic episode of custom figures in the Playmate style, but focused on Star Trek Picard. This is the third in our three-part series, the grand finale, one might say, but, you know, chances are there might be a fourth episode of Picardmas if you send it to us at lookatmystartrektoys@gmail.com. If you send it, we'll keep showing it. Very excited. We have 3 artists this week, and I'm excited to get into it. But before we do, we have some folks to thank, Mike.
We do. And we thank them every week, and we'll continue thanking them. That's our patrons. You can join the team at patreon.com/K&M. They get all kinds of fun, good stuff. Us watching shows, us talking about shows, just, you know, us doing stuff, but not on YouTube. Bryant Kimball Beersock, Casey Clark, Jason
Where's my credit card?
Andrew Jorge Navoa, not my cat's at my feet, and the mysterious household. Woof.
Woofs?
Keep tag.
Worf's Boot Chefs, Charles Babbage, Richard Coleman, CRM Productions, Nikolai Ivanovich, Lobachevsky, Delusions at Noon, Steve Brown, YouTube viewer, JD Makes, Colin Dagan, Chris Mitchell at CRM, Pat, and Joshua Cronin. Joshua's gonna send me something new. You know, Mike, put yourself back on camera.
CRM.
CRM? I said CR, whatever.
You said CRM and I said woofs.
You sure did.
Sun exposure.
Woof is how we feel about the start of our episode, but it can only get better from here because there's going to be less of us. And I think it is time to start with our first figure from our good friend Matt Rudawsky, who has sent
Seth Rudawsky?
No, Matt Rudawsky.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's the deepest cut. No one is going to have any idea who you're talking about. But we are going to look at a first figure. It is Captain Cristobal Rios. Check it out. This actor played like 6 different versions of himself in the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Picard. We have here, you know, Matt sent a spin around video. Always welcome if you want to send your spin arounds.
What's that base from?
Well, that is the base, I believe, from some of the random alien figures. I think the Horgon, not the Horgon, the one from the Horgon episode from Captain's Holiday, the time traveling aliens came with that base, if I'm not mistaken. But once again, such exciting work here, because until I read how he did this, I would have no idea how he created this figure that looks very much like the actor, but somehow made this out of Playmates figures, obviously sculpting the jacket on it. This is actually a Saran head on a Tuvok body with a sculpted jacket above it. And of course, as a little bonus in the back of that picture, he built the ship too.
That's pretty cool.
Which built Rios' ship, which looks phenomenal. So freaking cool. You got to take the spinner off so we can see them side by side.
Oh, hey, yeah, okay.
I mean, look at that.
He even got the detail in the beard.
The detail in the beard and the detail in the jackets. All the contemporary Trek have these very complicated, cutouts and patterns on the jackets, and to have that on there. Mike has not seen seen Picard, but he has seen a
cat butt.
A cat that seems to be
growing,
filling out
exponentially.
He does. Tux. When we started doing the shows, he was a tiny little kitten, and now he looks like me. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not the growth pattern we hoped for, but
no, nothing is. We all can't look like Rios because, damn, if I could look like him. It like that is like my idealized version of myself because I've got the beard.
What's the head come from again? What's the head on the sculpt?
It's a Saran, which was Malcolm McDowell from Star Trek Generations. Mike, do you remember the piece of Malcolm McDowell trivia I gave you a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, he is related to Alexander Siddig. And
yes,
they modeled his old
uncle.
Guy after him. Yeah.
Yes. Well, there you go. So we have some more from Matt filling out the Picard line.
Jacket's great too.
Jacket looks phenomenal. I mean, that's all hand sculpted too. I don't understand. These people are amazing. So let's take a look. So now we have Riker, Picard, and Rios there. So you can see reflected incredibly well the Admiral Picard uniform that he wore, and I believe 2380 in one of the flashbacks in the season 1 of Picard, as well as what Riker was looking like when he showed up at the end of season 1 wearing his new contemporary Starfleet uniform. Looking great. We're going to have another one of those 2380 Picards coming up later in this episode. Mike, what do you think?
It's really cool. I love the matte black, and we're getting our fill of it here today. And I really love the Riker. It's interesting because Playmates doesn't do a great Riker, and
never has.
But our artists do, and I love how I just possessed them. Mm-hmm. This one's great too.
And I think what makes Riker look more like Riker on this figure is some of the painting and some of the shading. We discovered this on the 2022 Riker. One of the reasons it didn't look very good was more the paint than the sculpt. And so you can see here on this figure here, the sculpt is terrific, always was. It just needed to be shaded and painted just a little bit different. And I think, so Matt, now you have to come to my house and fix all of my Rikers.
Oh, I thought you said shade and paint me.
No.
What tier of Patreon is that, Keith?
That's the we need to call your therapist tier. Because something's going sad there. Nonetheless, that looks like Frakes. And a really cool...
It does, really.
It really does look like Frakes. And the hand-painted little details on Picard's uniform there is great. Was the collar part of the original figure? Because that's obviously a adaptation of the dress uniform. I forget if the dress uniform had a collar like that. Either way, looks fantastic. Really big, cool upgrades. Wish that I had these in my line. So, coming up next, we are going to hear from our good friend Shammie Hax, who specializes in completed figures. So you're not just getting the figure, you're getting it in the box, and you're not just getting some random box, custom built, fully built out boxes for these new things. They're so good that I am inundated with people wanting to know how to contact him to get some of these custom boxes because they're phenomenal. But we are going to start out by looking at a Captain Shaw figure from Shammie Hax here, James. So we have now, this is our third Shaw we've shown on the show so far. Who was Todd Stashwick, who might have checked out our video. So maybe he'll check out this one too. That would be exciting. So this is, another one of those cool representations of the new wraparound uniform. This is from season 3 of Picard, which I think I mentioned on a previous show. They did, I think, finished the idea of the unused Generations uniforms because they wanted to have a little bit of the wrap over Wrath of Khan dealy while still maintaining the next gen sort of color blocking. And this is, so they went back and, so Federation in the future, after Deep Space Nine era uniforms, they did the black and gray ones, which I really liked, and then they sort of went back towards the Deep Space Nine era uniforms with some little tweaks and updates. So you can see it right here on the figure, very well represented, as well as custom sculpting the contemporary communicator, Delta. Really, really good work. And here's the fun part about it. This is a 3D printed, digitally sculpted head that you can see some really of the work in progress to create it. I mean, God, the talent to be able to pull that off, I don't know. I don't understand. Mike, tell me your thoughts and feelings.
I love it. And I was glancing up because, I completed the collection of the Prodigy figures, and I'm looking at their paint jobs, and I'm looking at the articulation, and I'm thinking to myself, as much as I dig those, it seems such a no-brainer. Looking at all of these customs we have over the past few weeks, they should just make these. They're so good. Not to mention the 3D sculpts are done on half of them. All you gotta do is reach out to a couple people.
Got like 3 different people they could just copy
and just the
paste
black and red looks so cool. I have a suspicion, these would pop on the collector shelf at the Target, your Walmart, your online. More than the kid toys did. So, well,
and as we talked about in our Playmates discussion, like, I don't think they should be in Target or Walmart.
Yeah,
I think it should be online only, small batches, and just sell them to us because we'll buy them. And especially, if you do the batch large enough to get enough for us, right? But no more than that. So they're more collectible. And you don't have to like buy all the retail space and blah blah blah. The margins are higher. We've talked about it before, but that's been my opinion for a while. So here's what James says about this. I noticed you two were going to do some episodes about Picard figures. Well, if you're interested, I just finished my Captain Shaw figure. Here it is. Unfortunately, he hasn't gone off for a signing yet, and even more sadly, this is the first time I have to send in just the card back to be signed. I don't get to show him the whole deal, which is a double whammy because I know Todd Stashwick is a huge nerd and has a figure collection. So bummer there. But if you want for the show, here's what my finished Shaw came out look like, and the backing card I made for it. I 3D sculpted the head, and the body is one of the 1701 Barclays from the 3-pack.
Keith,
yes,
I'm breaking the fourth wall here. Todd, I'm looking at you. I know you watched this week. I know you want to see your figure. I know you're watching.
You're not watching.
I've just heard you have a collection. We would love to have you on, take a peek at some of your best stuff, have a little chit chat. The people would love it. I think it's a great time for some cross IP. So let's do it. Todd, come on over to Star Trek Toys. Let's look at what you got. Doesn't even have to be Star Trek Toys. This is your collection. We take a look at any collection. That's my invitation, and I extend it.
Well, and to prove our nerd bona fides, I've been a fan of you since The Riches, which I was obsessed with. So there you are.
All right, let's take a look at that box.
Let's take a look at the box.
Wow.
This is where James's like Photoshop and graphic design skills are just off the charts. So all of this is completely custom made, completely custom built, all the way through and printed. And so you can see there's a whole line of these season 3 figures here. Don't read the his personnel file there. But Mike don't read. Everybody else can. I put in a blown up version of it in our next picture here, so you can see, folks. You can go along and read, and not only is it fully written It's like funny and interesting and fun, but it is a spoiler, so Mike, don't look. But just look at the detail work and the design there. It's really fantastic. And this is not one of those ones where you're like changing the text on a package design that had already been done. This is soup to nuts, hand built.
Well, it's very reminiscent of, and I know it's the LCAR system, but that's the way Playmates has the UI of their website currently. So for their Star Trek line, so it fits really well in with Playmates as well.
Well, it's one of those things where like they should just hire him because he's done a phenomenal job of making new contemporary great design in the Playmates style as if they had continued when they hadn't. Really love it. Really fantastic work. I want to see the whole cast. I want to see all of them as they come up. And, and we James has so much stuff. Maybe we'll just do a whole episode of his fully packaged custom figures that he gets signed by all of the people, which is even crazier.
Yeah, so I would love to do that. And you know that my favorite thing, for some reason, I think I've mentioned this a bunch of times. The boxes is what really gets me tickled. I understand the artistry that is involved in making the figures, and I love them. But it's when you put them in the fully made box and then like seal them in. There's something about that illusion. It's almost like it's a weird pull, Mike, but it's almost like drag. Like I understand what's going on. I understand, but the whole illusion really just transports me and brings me so much glee. I love seeing it here too.
Well, there's a whole bunch of extra storytelling, which is really fun, and it's sort of like instead of breaking the fourth wall, it finishes the fourth wall. Anyway, really, really, really cool. So so there you go. Todd, come on board. We'll be delighted to have you. All right, so our next Picard figures are from one of our oldest friends on the K&M Empire. Of course, is JD from JD Makes. Definitely go and subscribe to his channel.
Please do.
He's doing a whole mess of other reviews. He's about to kick our butt in terms of the amount of reviews and depth.
Yeah, he just did. He just dropped one today. I'm excited to look at to watch. It's like the 30th anniversary of Barbie, and
because Barbie did some Trek figures.
Yeah, but it was something else. I'm going to look at while you talk.
Okay, so here is the Picard figure from season 1 from the flashback scene in 2380, which I mentioned before.
You were right, Keith. It's the 30th anniversary of Star Trek Barbie and Ken.
Star Trek Barbie and Ken. Well, there you go.
Cool.
So this is from that same scene from the other Picard figure we saw from Matt. He says, I've gotten better with the skin tone. I did these 3 years ago, so I need to go back and fix Raffi. Oh, well, I think it looks great. I never made any more because shortly after the Playmates announcements, I kept holding out hope that they'd make some for Picard. Guess that's not going to happen now. I don't know. It depends on if they hire me as their new CEO. So I might as well make some more on my own soon. Well, I think you should do that regardless. Look at the paint detail work on the Admiral uniform from that timeline.
The gold is so cool.
The gold. Well, that's what makes you an Admiral, when you have a gold thing. And that's been true throughout all of Trek. The Admiral uniform just has like the Admiral uniform, which I think they had maybe 300 different versions of on Next Gen as they continued to work. It was like the dress uniforms. They kept hiking up the skirt and they kept rearranging the Admiral uniforms. But nonetheless, they got it here, which I didn't love them. But it's a timeline we're not in, so who cares? But I really love this figure. I think the Papa Gold and the brushwork. I mean, again,
actually, the more glossy type paint here is working for me too. I usually prefer the matte, but there's something nice about the sheen here.
It fits in with the main line, right? Because the main line are gloss. So if it's whether you go for realism within the original line or you go for an upgrade. This is the realism within the line, sort of a figure. So if we keep going, we also have the Raffi figure. Also from the same scene and the same timeline. And interestingly, Michelle Hurd I've been watching a lot of SVU lately, and I didn't realize that she was the main character for the first season.
Yeah, it's funny. I just watched an episode from the first season last night where Beltzer's partner decides it's too much for him, so it's paving the way for Ice Cube to come in. But Ice-T, yeah,
Ice-T.
Ice Cube's been dead for a while.
Yeah, but yes, yeah, and he'll be back. Anyway, really, I don't know how he did the updo.
Yeah.
It's like Raffi's character goes on so many different journeys. It was fascinating to see her in this flashback in her Starfleet days. And here you can see them all together. Oh, yeah. So it really does have that. They really pop a collar at that point, which I appreciate. So, more fantastic work from JD as always. I have some notes here unrelated to the figure on the pads they're holding in the future here. It's like they blocked out like 3/4 of your iPhone with things.
Are those the fronts?
Those are the fronts, I think.
Oh.
I think we've, Star Trek, we went backwards in our technology. Now we want things blocking it. That's weird.
Yeah, they're going back to a flip phone. You're like, we've been there.
Yeah, they literally do go back to a flip phone because that's what Kirk and Spock are using the whole time. But anyway, once again, more fantastic work from our good friend JD. Really, really excellent job with that fine brush details. I just don't understand. My hands just can't do that under any circumstances. Anyway, so that, unless a whole mess of new Picard figures come into my inbox this week, will be the end of Picardmas in July. Maybe there'll be a Picardmas in December again. Who knows? But it's been really fun looking at your work all through the 3-part series. Mike, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would love to. I'm going to put my pitch out again. I've always asked for, I want to see your hideous. By Halloween, we have to find ourselves enough customs just horribly gone wrong for a show.
Oh, yes.
So I'm putting that call out again. I'd also put a call out for, we're really not deep, but we're really into season 2 here of Strange New Worlds. So if you've got any Strange New Worlds stuff, I think it's time we pop those on the show. And that's really it, Keith. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. And you can send all of these to lookatmystartrektoys@gmail.com. We also, and I just got a whole mess, we might do a whole episode on these too, figures posed in the wild, building your dioramas, take them out and photograph them in interesting and cool ways. We've shown a lot of that before. I'm going to try to build maybe a whole episode of that coming up soon. So really fun. Look at my Star Trek toys at gmail.com. While you're there, you're already on your computer, go check out some of our other stuff. We do Keith and Mike Watch Deep Space Nine. We have Keith and Mike Watch Strange New Worlds. We have this show. We have K&M Geekly, where we talk about geeky nonsense every week. Do we have any other shows? No, that's it.
I don't know.
I don't know. You can also check out our old-timey Out of Practice podcast about David E. Kelly's The Practice. Can't miss it. All right, so we will see you back here next week with another crazy episode of Look at My Star Trek Toys! Whoosh!